of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Tara, can you do roll call, please?
Councilmember Campbell.
Here.
Councilmember Ring.
Here.
Councilmember Mays.
Here.
Councilmember Bakke.
Here.
All right, all members are accounted for. All right, and on the agenda, we do have a special presentation tonight from our Assistant Police Chief, Jesse Green. Jesse, the floor is yours.
So I just wanted to update council and the citizens on our training that we had on June 7th and 8th. Georgetown Police, we hosted it. The trainers that attended was Nathan Rodriguez, Chase Overbeek, and John Sullivan. Sorry. Nathan is as far as the Department of Public Safety in Texas. John was from Massachusetts, the FBI office. And Chase, he was somewhere out west. But they were phenomenal trainers. We really enjoyed them. And I just want to show you some of the pictures of the training we did. There was 3 departments in attendance: Georgetown Police, Brown County Sheriff's Office, and Ohio State Highway Patrol. And what this course was designed to do, here's a class photo. What it's designed to do is effectively confront and neutralize active shooter threats. During this course, they taught us threat assessment, situational awareness, communication, and tactical response and techniques. As you can see, there was classroom time where we had to sit down and they went over different items, such as clearing rooms, identifying threats. This is Chase teaching one of the Sheriff's Department members in State Highway Patrol. We did everything from building searches to how to enter buildings safely during active shooter incident. There was a lot of these officers, even myself as a seasoned officer, that really opened our eyes. It was very good training. It was very intense, very demanding. I think everybody walked out there and needed to take a shower afterwards. We were exhausted. But everybody really enjoyed it. They really took a lot in. It really focused a lot on teamwork, using your partner, which in law enforcement, we preach out all the time: contact and cover. And as you can see here, like the instructors, they even walked us through it step by step to show us what we need to be doing. They went from just basic rooms to large rooms. As you say, this is the entrance to the cafeteria at that, or not the cafeteria, the gymnasium, which in a tactical situation, that could be a big problem being in such a large room to cover. They discussed as far as breaching doors, if we had to make forced entry into a building, the safest way to do it to provide safety for our residents and for the officers. They discussed a lot of things such as what threats can happen during this incident, and during a mass incident, what we can encounter. Some of the other items they taught us is how to carry victims out of the situation. With law enforcement, we have big gun belts. It can be difficult. So, as you can see here, and Officer Hunter is a big man, but they showed us how to correctly get him out of safety if he was to be injured. So, and some officers that seemed like they were a little timid, it really brought a lot out of them. You saw that leadership quality come out of them. And I really enjoyed that. That's Nathan Rodriguez right there. Phenomenal training. This is them going over that gymnasium situation. They took this training very seriously, which everyone there did. There was really no joking, no playing around. We treated it as if it was a realistic item. And everybody got to take a turn doing this. And what they did is they sent us in individually, so we couldn't cheat. I couldn't go back and tell Officer Luther, here's what happened. No, they divided us all up. So that really brought that realism to it. Then we got even what they call quads of 4, forest clearing building, firearm safety, so that we're not pointing our weapons at innocent civilians or at each other. Here, he's demonstrating more carrying techniques. And even some of the officers need some refresher on our tourniquets. A very, very valuable life-saving device. So in closing, my goals for 2026, because what I love about this training, it's free. It's free. The U.S. government pays for it. I got off the phone with the Alert Training Institute. Georgetown got a high review, one of the highest. Matter of fact, I just got a text message yesterday from Nathan Rodriguez. He's actually using Georgetown and Brown County. He's using that in his trainings, talking about how energetic we were, how attentive we were. He's just bragging about us constantly. So he wants to come back to Georgetown from Texas. So next year, I'm looking at the ERACE training program, which is the exterior response to active shooter events. This is if you got an active shooter out in a park, out in a wooded area. And with our geolocation, that fits us, because something may happen in Georgetown but end up in a wooded area. And we have a lot of woods in our community. And I would like to see our younger officers be trained on this. I think this is vital. The other one is, and I really like this one, they introduced me to this one, was the AIR training, the Active Attack Integration Response. I think this would be an excellent course. Once again, it's free. This involves the police, fire, EMS, and communication center. Everybody's involved. So we know if a situation ever happens, what we need from the fire department, what they need from us, and vice versa, all across the board, what we need from the communication center. And I think this type of training will just strengthen us as a community and as a law enforcement and emergency services division. So, any questions?
Officer Green, thank you for this presentation. I have high regards for training and always continuing to educate yourself, and even if it is something you've trained on many times, there's no harm in continuing to do that. These types of situations we know can happen anywhere, and I think this is a great training that we did for our officers, so congratulations, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, let's see, we will go into public comment tonight. And this is an opportunity for anyone in the audience this evening to speak. You can come up to the podium there and state your why you're here, what you want to talk about. Everyone has 5 minutes, so we have a 5-minute limit to speak. And Tara will keep track of the time. And I will start, well, I will also say too, since I know a few of you are here for the actual 2 positions that are open on council, that we will, if you're wanting to speak to why you want the council seat, we'll do that in a separate session. So, all right. Mr. Gilliam? Mm-hmm. Mr. Huntsman?
Yes.
Fantastic.
I did. I'll try to be brief. Last week when I paid my utility bill, I noticed a sign on the utility office that beginning July 7th, the utilities office is going to be open from 6:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Thursday. So when I paid my bill, I asked, is that just the utilities office going to 4 10-hour days? And correct me if I'm wrong, I think she told me that it's any village department that's not currently working 7 days a week. So police, fire, and wastewater treatment, I think, are exempt, but everything else will be 4 10-hour days. And then I learned later perhaps that it was for a 90-day trial. Does that sound somewhat correct?
Yes.
Okay. And let me, from the beginning, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a perk and perhaps a fringe benefit for your employees, so I don't have a problem with that. I did have a couple of questions. I think it's important for the utilities office that if the Friday is the 20th when the utility bills are due, that you extend that deadline to the next day that the utility bills can be paid, because I think customers have a right to be able to expect to pay their bill in person on the day that it's due, whether that be to walk into the office or go through the drive-through. Long time ago, when I was on council, I know that we had a separate fee to open and close the cemetery grave on Saturdays and Sundays and holidays. It cost more on those days than it did Monday through Friday, predominantly because the person doing that work on Saturday and Sunday was being paid overtime. So now if Friday is going to be overtime, is that going to change the fee structure for opening and closing graves? So will there be one price Monday through Thursday, different price Friday, different price Saturday, different price Sunday? But I think that's something that should be addressed, and the public should know, so families know that when they're making arrangements that, perhaps now it may cost more for a service or a burial on Friday.
Point well taken. I know we've talked about the moving or extending the utilities deadline. I think that absolutely makes sense. And then I don't know if we've looked at that. That's why part of this is a trial.
I've spoken to Ken Cowell.
Yeah.
And, obviously for the trial, there won't be any change. I think people should expect to be able to pay the same rate Monday through Friday. So that certainly will not be affected during this trial period, and then we'll evaluate that when we move forward.
And just a couple more quick things. I would
Sure.
assume on a 5-day-a-week schedule, now that your overtime is always going to be Saturday and Sunday. Now you're adding an extra day of overtime. And I wonder if you've considered an analysis of, because there are going to be things that could be done during regular business hours on Friday, an electric outage, water main break, snow or ice removal that would ordinarily would be done during the normal workday. Now it's going to be overtime on Friday. So I think that would be something that you could take into consideration. And then after the trial, and again, I think it's a good idea. The only thing that I might tweak it a little bit, I'm familiar with a couple organizations, they still maintain Monday through Friday service, but they stagger their employee schedule. So some employees work Monday through Thursday, some Tuesday through Friday, and then they rotate. The thing about that for the employees is then every other week they get a 4-day weekend. But you still have your coverage Monday through Friday. So again, I think I don't have a problem with it. I just think there are a couple things that might be tweaked if you decide to continue it after the 90-day trial.
Yes.
Thank you.
All good points. Thank you. All right. Let's see where we. Mr. Horn.
Hi, my name is Mike Horn. I'm here to advocate for the children in our community. We just put our hands over our heart, pointed at the flag and swore, and we said liberty and justice for all, right? Our kids deserve to have a park that's safe, and it's an injustice that they don't. They can't advocate for themselves. They can't come in here and tell you that there's debris in the mulch, that the concrete crew got concrete debris all in the mulch. They can't tell you that compared to other parks in other counties, we can see that there's not enough mulch in the park. They can't tell you that pieces are missing needed for their safety. The parks in Clermont have little metal guides that prevent kids from climbing directly up the slide. And I witnessed a kid at our park climb directly up the slide and expose himself to a fall. They can't tell you that the rock climbing rocks are upside down because they don't know any better. But despite coming to the administrator, council members, and other people, the mayor, the administrator, you know what? Those rock climbing rocks are still upside down. What kids do, they do show and tell. Do you guys see this? I picked this rock out of where the kids are going to be playing soccer. What happens in a soccer game? Kids tumble, kids fall. What's this thing? This is a piece of concrete debris left by the construction crews, then spread around because we didn't pick up the debris before we spread the new dirt. Do any of you want a kid falling on this? Can you honestly say that you're happy that there are rocks and debris all over the area? Or were? Some are gone, some are missing, some are right up on the ground like this? Is this acceptable? I cannot understand why you're not outraged. I talked to a lawyer. Hidden objects become a town liability when the town knows about them but has not taken action. Doesn't take but a little bit of grass to cover that, now does it? Guess what? You are now aware that there is a dangerous condition that can be hidden from public view that needs to be rectified. Cameras on, this is an affidavit quality record. This is not acceptable. You need to do better. So, the tree shrubs in the new brush. You used a mulcher to cut down that brush, and you created hundreds of sticks that were an impalement hazard. And now that the brush is growing out, it's going to be hidden. That becomes a hidden object that the village knows about, that is hidden from view, and becomes a liability that you cannot escape. I went to another park in a smaller town. They have cameras. Cameras deter crime and vandalism. I did exactly what the village asked me to do, and I took a picture of a kid vandalizing something in the park and tried to report it. But before I could call the police, that kid's fathers came and about knocked my block off. The cameras are there not only to protect from vandalism, but to protect people from assault and to prevent crime when the police are not immediately there. And it's a very minor cost. The cost for monitoring systems for cameras has gone way down. It's a pittance in the budget. And you cannot put any improvements into the park without cameras or staff, or it's just going to get torn up. I have a picture of damage to the senior playground that happened the first month it was installed. It's still broken. It's a simple fix.
We have about a few seconds left. Mike, if you could wrap it up for us.
You guys see this? Are you proud of this?
Thank you, Mike. Time is up. Tina, anything for the group? Jay, anything additional? Jeremy, anything additional? Ron? And again,
Good afternoon.
Oh, sorry, we have 5 minutes, just as a reminder.
I come to this meeting with two problems. One is my utility bill. Two is bad services and bad behavior. Let me set the mood for this meeting. Mayor, what if I just come in here and told you that you almost hit me in a crosswalk just now? You don't know what I'm talking about, do you? It's confusing. That's the way I have felt for 2 months. I discussed many times with the utility office. Those are nice ladies in there. Kelly, Cassandra, they're nice. They try to get things done. 5 out of 8 times, my trash has not been picked up. There's a man named Leon that lives on the corner of my road on Blair Street. He's witnessed 5 out of 8 times they didn't pick my trash up. First, my tenant moved out. Then, it was shut off. I called to have it turned on. Wasn't picked up. No pickup the next week either, and I borrowed Leon's 2 trash cans. So I thought, well, what's the problem here? Well, I called again. They said stated utilities were inactive. Remember, I already called and had them activated. Okay? And to prove it, my electric and water is already on where I'm working. So if the electric and water's on, trash has to be too. Because I'm also paying for the sewer. Trash not picked up again. And my reason was told because it was too far from the road. The young boy working with me and Leon both measured it was 25 inches from the road. Why is that? I go to Rumpke. They won't talk to me because you guys pay Rumpke. They said go to the village, talk about it. Okay? I brought my own cans, the cans that the truck flipped up, you know. I thought, well, maybe it's a hazard. Maybe they want that. Okay? Well, they still didn't empty it. I call up, our services are active. Next week, no pickup. Then the week after that, they were picked up. Then the next week, no pickup. It's just like going back and forth, okay? You send me bills right here. 6/4 of 2025. You send me these bills. They want to send me May and June backdated. This bill is due June 6th. This post date says June 4th. That's when it was sent out. Both of them in this envelope, witnessed by my wife. So there's a screw up somewhere. And I'm trying to figure this out. Okay? I'm trying. Apparently the girls couldn't figure it out. Because they'll tell you one thing, then tell you another. And they're not lying. They're just trying to figure it out. So I called the office, talked to her again. She said she'd talked to the administrator. Okay? So up the chain we go. I said, okay, who is he? She told me who he was. I said, okay. I said, is he there today? She said, I don't know. I said, do you think he'll take the trash off? I'm not asking for my bills to have all this taken off my bill. I want what's right. I just want the trash taken off, okay? I use 30, it says 30 right here. That stands for 300 gallons. I wash my brushes and my rollers out when I paint the place. Guilty. I'll pay the water. Pay the water, gotta pay the sewer. I'll pay the sewer. I'll pay the electric. I wanted it on so that my pipes wouldn't freeze, okay? But nobody's taken my trash. There's no rule sent to me. Nothing is sent to me, okay? So I go to your administrator. I'll walk in there.
You have about 20 seconds left.
Yeah, I go in there and I go to talk to him. And he comes to the window and turns his head and said, I don't need this. And I'm like, I'd like to introduce myself. That's how it went. I said, I'm Ron Bulow. I'd like to talk about my utility bill. You know what? He said, I don't need this. He said, I know your story.
Ron, time is up.
So what can we do about the bill? What can we do about this? I'm trying to work up the chain on this, and you guys won't even do nothing about it.
Your time is up, sir.
Well, I thought.
Jan, anything for the group?
You can let Tina go first.
Sure.
I said no.
She said no.
Smoking, okay. I'll be quick.
All right.
Ordinarily, I walk with a cane, and that's a bit of a problem to get around town. Now, we have a bicentennial park, and there's a book box up there where people leave books, take books, that sort of thing. I'm calling about 100 and some odd books at my house, so I've been taking children's books and mystery type things and whatever to put in that box. Problem that I'm having is that out of about the last 6 trips, I only had one parking place where it didn't take me half a day to get to the box. Normally, you could pull into the parking lot. You can't do that anymore. And then all the spots are filled in front, and we have a yellow curb all along, so there's no place to park. So I've been having to park over by the courthouse. And get across the street and get into the park and one thing and another. Now, there was a sign there that says 24-hour parking. A civil, so you can't even pull in there and try to find a place to park. My concern is, I have that problem, and I would like to be able to utilize that park, and I'm quite sure that other people in town would like to do that too. So either the police are not ticketing anybody, or tell them they have to move. 24 hours, they've been there a month anyway. And I just want that to be brought to somebody's attention.
May I speak to that?
Sure.
First off, I'd like to apologize because I'm the one there on council that has the trailers there. But in all fairness, we're trying to renovate a building there on the square. I have went through the steps of pulling permits through the village offices, have I not?
Yeah.
And if I didn't store like things in the newer box trailer, they would have to be somewhere on that area to install. So there's a dairy bar coming in on the back corner there. There's it being put in there. And hold on for a little longer equipment. If the town told me that I had to move it and it was necessary, I would oblige that gladly.
Yeah, I did
But-
see on,
Go ahead.
I just want to make sure that the park can be used by people who actually use the park.
Yes, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know, I could probably bring in a video camera, because I know I have one on the side of my building, and I could show you the traffic.
Nobody can,
And, for one, there's rarely a car right there in front of the park on the Cherry Street side after the courthouse closes, so I know there's plenty of parking out front, and I don't know that it would be